So we're going to start off with some EFT tapping, and we're going to do Have It All Now because that was the new meditation I just released on YouTube yesterday. So if you're not familiar with tapping, it's emotional freedom technique. You can tap along. If you feel any emotions or emotional releases or any sensations in your body, just let them flow, let them go. All right. So let's go ahead and start, and you can just tap along with me here, okay? So we do a couple rounds of tapping. So go ahead and start by tapping on your karate chop point. This is for having it all now. So even though I don't feel like I have it all now, you can say these out louder in your mind. I choose to show love and compassion to myself. And even though I feel afraid I will never have it all, I choose to completely love and accept myself. As well as anyone else connected to this. Then you're going to start tapping over your eye. It doesn't matter which side you do. I'm going to cycle through both sides. You can tap with both hands the whole time if you want. All this fear that I can't have it all. All this doubt that I can't have it all. All this anxiety that what I want will never come. All this pain from things not working out for me in my past. What if I'm just wasting my time? What if I'm just setting myself up for more disappointment? Maybe I should just give up now. Because that would feel so much easier. But I'm so tired of living an unfulfilling life. Whatever I am feeling is valid. And I allow myself to process it all now. Because the truth is, having everything I want is possible. And I know I deserve to have it all. So I refuse to give up on myself. I felt like nothing ever worked out for me in the past. But just because something didn't work out before, doesn't mean it's not going to this time. So I allow myself to have it all now. I have the power right now. I have meaning and purpose right now. I have joy and happiness right now. I have safety and security right now. I have consistency and stability right now. It's okay. Whatever you're feeling is valid. I have peace and harmony right now. I have all the love I could ever want right now. I have my ideal romantic relationship right now. I have my ideal relationships right now. I have perfect health right now. I have my ideal body right now. I have all the money and wealth I could ever want right now. I have the life of my dreams right now. And I now know and feel the truth of this all. Mind, body, and soul. Right, go ahead and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And make sure you have a drink of water. And that's our tapping portion for right now. Anything that you experience is valid. Somebody asked why they're crying. So what happens is when you tap on these emotions and you tap on these points, these are your meridian points, it's moving old emotional attachments to those statements and moving old stuck trapped emotional energy through your system. And that can manifest as tears. There's all different ways it can manifest. Okay, you can feel sensations in your body. You may have different types of gas. Okay, there's no wrong way to experience it. So now we're gonna move into our, I think I tapped too hard. Yeah, be gentle with yourself, even when you're tapping. It takes just a little bit of pressure. Can you tap to remove while saying the negative emotions too? Can you explain what you mean by that? This is the first time I've done tapping. It's pretty wonderful. It's a great practice. just make sure to let your body recalibrate itself too. It's a type of energy healing, so make sure to drink your water. I'm going to do that right now. Grab some water. So there's different ways you can do tapping. I'm going to make a video on this. You can tap with affirmations. You don't have to tap with affirmations. You can just tap. You can also tap on a person's name because you're releasing any emotional resistance that you have to that person. There were some other ways too. You can tap on a specific belief that you're trying to release and then move into the belief that you want to believe if you'd like saying things you're hurt or yes. And that's something that I do, is I do tap on negative statements because it releases and neutralizes all ties to that statement, whether positive or negative. So yeah, it just came to me the other night. It's like you can just tap on a name if a name triggers you, or a picture. If there's a picture of somebody, you can tap with the picture too. Yeah, there's all different ways you can do it. I need this. Do you think people that treat you awful live a wonderful life? I think that people that treat others awful, there's something going on within them. And I know that I focus very heavily on everyone is you pushed out, because everyone is you pushed out. And this is what I've learned, is it's not what other people are doing to you or what's happening that is telling you who you are. It's whether you're accepting what they say or do to you as a truth or using it to solidify some kind of belief and accepting that on. So everyone is not you pushed out unless we believe what they are telling. Well, everyone is you pushed out. So there's some aspect of you. So some of you saw that comment that came in about my physical appearance. Okay. So that was me pushed out. Okay. That's something that I've been working through. And so I can choose to accept what they say as truth, or I can say, no, actually that's not true, but they're still reflecting something within me. And if that triggers me, that was actually a great time for that person to make that comment, because I was tapping, so I could tap through it and move that energy through me. My best friend keeps getting things I'm manifesting, and I'm trying to shift my perspective, but it's been really hard. Sometimes doing this emotional work makes it easier to shift it, because there's still an emotional tie to whatever belief is being shown. That's something that I've learned. That's why mindset work is great, but it can only take you so far. Okay. So we're going to move now into our activity today. It's going to be a journaling prompt. Okay. So I'm going to turn on some music, and then you can journal on this question. And that is, I think I can comment down there. So I think I'll do that. And I think I can pin it so that you can see what it is. What am I most afraid of right now, and why? And we'll journal for about 10 minutes. All right, everybody. That is going to end the journaling portion. So with whatever you came up with during your journaling prompt, which today's was what am I most afraid of right now and why? I want you to use that as feedback, because that's going to tell you about beliefs you may hold about yourself. Okay. So those fears, they're not real. Okay. They're based on past experiences, but you can use this information as feedback. Okay. So now we're going to move on to reading. I'm going to read for about 10 minutes. Continuing on in the power of now. We're going to pick up where we left off. Freeing yourself from your mind. I'm going to have to make sure I time myself here. Okay. What exactly do you mean by watching the thinker? When someone goes to the doctor and says, I hear a voice in my head, he or she will most likely be sent to a psychiatrist. The fact is that in a very similar way, virtually everyone hears a voice or several voices in their head all the time. The involuntary thought processes that you don't realize you have the power to stop. Continuous monologues or dialogues. You've probably come across mad people in the street, incessantly talking or muttering to themselves. Well, that's not much different from what you and all other normal people do, except that you don't do it out loud. The voice comments, speculates, judges, compares, complains, likes, dislikes, and so on. The voice isn't necessarily relevant to the situation you find yourself in at the time. It may be reviving the recent or distant past or rehearsing or imagining possible future situations. Here it often imagines things going wrong and negative outcomes. This is called worry. Sometimes this soundtrack is accompanied by visual images or mental movies. Even if the voice is relevant to the situation at hand, it will interpret it in terms of the past. This is because the voice belongs to your conditioned mind, which is the result of all your past history as well as of the collective cultural mindset you inherited. So you see and judge the present through the eyes of the past and get a totally distorted view of it. It is not uncommon for the voice to be a person's own worst enemy. Many people live with a tormentor in their head that continuously attacks and punishes them and drains them of vital energy. It is the cause of untold misery and unhappiness, as well as of disease. The good news is that you can free your mind. The good news is that you can free yourself from your mind. This is the only true liberation. You can take the first step right now. Start listening to the voice in your head as often as you can. Pay particular attention to any repetitive thought patterns, those old gramophone records that have been playing in your head perhaps for many years. This is what I mean by watch the thinker, which is another way of saying listen to the voice in your head, be there as the witnessing presence. When you listen to that voice, listen to it impartially. That is to say, do not judge. Do not judge or condemn what you hear, for doing so would mean that the same voice has come in again through the back door. You'll soon realize there is the voice, and here I am listening to it, watching it. This I am realization, the sense of your own presence, is not a thought. It arises from beyond the mind. So when you listen to a thought, you are aware not only of the thought, but also of yourself as the witness of the thought. A new dimension of consciousness has come in. As you listen to the thought, you feel a conscious presence, your deeper self, behind or underneath the thought, as it were. The thought then loses its power over you and quickly subsides, because you are no longer energizing the mind through identification with it. This is the beginning of the end of involuntary and compulsive thinking. When a thought subsides, you experience a discontinuity in the mental stream, a gap of no mind. At first, the gaps will be short, a few seconds perhaps, but gradually they will become longer. When these gaps occur, you feel a certain stillness and peace inside you. This is the beginning of your natural state of felt oneness with being, which is usually obscured by the mind. With practice, the sense of stillness and peace will deepen. In fact, there is no end to its depth. You will also feel a subtle emanation of joy arising from deep within, the joy of being. It is not a trance-like state, not at all. There is no loss of consciousness here. The opposite is the case. If the price of peace were a lowering of your consciousness and the price of stillness a lack of vitality and alertness, then they would not be worth having. In this state of interconnectedness, you are much more alert, more awake than in the mind-identified state. You are fully present. It also raises the vibrational frequency of the energy field that gives life to the physical body. As you go more deeply into this realm of no mind, as it is sometimes called in the East, you realize the state of pure consciousness. In that state, you feel your own presence with such intensity and such joy that all thinking, all emotions, your physical body, as well as the whole external world, become relatively insignificant in comparison to it. And yet, this is not a selfish, but a selfless state. It takes you beyond what you previously thought of as yourself. That presence is essentially you, and at the same time inconceivably greater than you. What I'm trying to convey here may sound paradoxical or even contradictory, but there is no other way that I can express it. Instead of watching the thinker, you can also create a gap in the mind stream simply by directing the focus of your attention into the now. Just become intensely conscious of the present moment. This is a deeply satisfying thing to do. In this way, you draw consciousness away from mind activity and create a gap of no mind in which you are highly alert and aware but not thinking. This is the essence of meditation. In your everyday life, you can practice this by taking any routine activity that normally is only a means to an end and giving it your fullest attention so that it becomes an end in itself. For example, every time you walk up and down the stairs in your house or place of work, pay close attention to every step, every movement, even your breathing. Be totally present. Or when you wash your hands, pay attention to all the sense perceptions associated with the activity, the sound and feel of the water, the movement of your hands, the scent of the soap, and so on. Or when you get into your car after you close the door, pause for a few seconds and observe the flow of your breath. Become aware of a silent but powerful sense of presence. There is one certain criterion by which you can measure your success in this practice: the degree of peace that you feel within. So the single most vital step on your journey toward enlightenment is this: learn to disidentify from your mind. Every time you create a gap in the stream of mind, the light of your consciousness grows stronger. One day, you may catch yourself smiling at the voice in your head as you would smile at the antics of a child. This means that you no longer take the content of your mind all that seriously, as your sense of self does not depend on it. And we will stop there for today. And that's going to bring us to the end of our Mindful Monday session.